PR Connections Radio presents
Welcome to Vegas Hockey Hub here on PRConnectionsRadio.com, the voice of new media. I'm your host, Ian Rachiele, and on this edition, we are going to be doing a Vegas Hockey Hub recap where we break down every single matchup that the Vegas Golden Knights have during the season. We're going to be discussing the most recent event where your Vegas Golden Knights went on the road to begin a 3-game road trip, and they took on the Arizona Coyotes in a really interesting matchup that started out on a high note and then ended on a whimper. And we're going to break down every single part that happened in this game and all of the stuff that happened before that and after that here on Vegas Hockey Hub. Now go to www.prconnectionsradio.com, the voice of new media, and check out all the amazing content we have on the network. We have about a dozen shows on the platform, including Vegas Hockey Hub. So go to our website and go to our network and check out everyone on here. We got the Power, Love of Business, Crypto and Cash, and Vegas Hockey Hub, and a bunch of more that are on our platform. So go to prconnectionsradio.com and check out everyone on here. We also have our social media pages. We have our YouTube channel. We upload videos daily. We have our Facebook page where we try to upload content for our fans and people who are watching the show. Our Instagram where we upload videos. Twitter, we try to do live streams and live tweets throughout every single game. And our TikTok, which has just been started a couple of months ago, and we try to upload footage from our stuff. So for our Vegas Golden Knights, really interesting situation that has developed as Vegas, you're getting into the final stretch. All right, you have 7 games left. You're in a wild card hunt. You're right now competing with LA for the 3rd and final spot in the Pacific Division. You have Edmonton, who's right above you in the Pacific Division. Vancouver, they've pretty much locked that up. And as we're doing the playoff standings and talking about that update here on Vegas Hockey Hub, I mean, wild card standings, Nashville with the first wild card, your Vegas Golden Knights competing with LA, like I said, trying to figure out who's going to have the 3rd Pacific Division spot and who's going to have the 2nd wild card. And you also have a situation where on the Central side, Colorado and Winnipeg, they pretty much have that locked up 2 versus 3, and Dallas is starting to pull away as the Central Division winner at this point in time. And we've mentioned this on the show before, and we've even done this in the past, but when it comes to the Vegas Golden Knights and the upcoming playoff standings, St. Louis, Minnesota, teams that were trying to stay around in terms of a playoff hunt, they're going to have to do something drastic over the next 7 games, and or Vegas and LA are going to have such an epic collapse that allows St. Louis and Minnesota to get in it. Vegas right now has a 7-point gap from the 2nd wildcard spot. They have a 3-point gap separating them and LA, but it'll be interesting to see what happens moving forward in that situation. So that is the playoff standings update in the Western Conference. Vegas right now, 3rd Pacific Division spot, competing with LA. Moving over to the roster changes, because there's actually been a decent amount of changes that happened with your Vegas Golden Knights. The first big one that happened is that Brendan Brisson has been called up from the AHL. So Brendan Brisson, the former first-round pick with the Golden Knights organization, he has spent the past couple of seasons in the AHL with Henderson. He actually played in the NHL earlier this season, even played on the same line with Carlson and Marchessault for a little bit. Now, he has been called up from Henderson. Good news for Brendan Brisson. He is in the starting lineup against Arizona, and we'll go over the entire starting lineup in this show later on. But Brendan Brisson, the former first-round pick, top prospect with the Golden Knights organization, has been called up from the AHL, and he will be suiting up for the Vegas Golden Knights and the NHL organization that's good for him. Now, who he's going to be replacing in the starting lineup unfortunately got injured in the most recent game, and that is Nicholas Waugh. Now, we did not see any main injuries. We didn't really see anything bad happen when I was at the game live at T-Mobile Arena. But it was reported after the game and then more confirmed by Kelly McCrimmon afterwards in practice the next day. But Nick Waugh was indeed injured against Vancouver. He will be out against Arizona. There's no timetable. We're not going to speculate or do any rumors on when Nick Waugh will be back. But all we do know is that with Nick Waugh being injured against Vancouver, Brennan Bryson will be his replacement in the starting lineup. So for Brennan Bryson, that's good news for him. But for Nick Waugh, who's been a real solid player this year, someone who has around a dozen goals for the Vegas Golden Knights, him being out of the lineup. And defensively, the breaking news that came out of Kelly McCrimmon is that Alex Pietrangelo is once again out. Now, we do not know if it is an illness. We do not know if it is an injury. We do not know what the situation is. All we know is that Kelly McCrimmon said that Alex Pietrangelo is not going to be skating with the team. Alex Pietrangelo will be out and would actually be out of the game against Arizona, out of the starting lineup. He would not play for the Vegas Golden Knights in this matchup. So Pietrangelo, who would be teaming up with Alec Martinez the last couple of games, he is out of the starting lineup. Real crushing blow for the Vegas Golden Knights. Arguably the most impactful defenseman the Golden Knights have on the starting lineup. So Alex Pietrangelo once again out for the Vegas Golden Knights. Now to fill his spot in the lineup, Zach Whitecloud, who has been a healthy scratch for the last couple of weeks, he is back in the starting lineup. So Zach Whitecloud, someone who started out the year very strong, kind of fizzled out towards the middle of the year with injuries and with people coming back. Zach Whitecloud essentially became the odd man out, just like Ben Hutton has been the seventh man for a while. Zach Whitecloud became essentially the seventh defenseman with all these guys being put back in the lineup. So Zach Whitecloud, for the first time in weeks, will be in the starting lineup and being in uniform for the Vegas Golden Knights organization. So he will be replacing Alex Pietrangelo, just like Brennan Bryson will be replacing Nick Waugh in the starting lineup. So that's some very impactful roster changes and what's going on with the Golden Knights. So 2 up and 2. And in net for your Vegas Golden Knights and the starting goaltender will be Logan Thompson. And for the 6th time in the last 8 games, LT will be in net for Vegas. And I cannot blame Bruce Cassidy or Kelly McCrimmon for doing this. In his most recent matchup against Vancouver, he was excellent for Vegas. And it really has not been a bad game for Logan Thompson in a while. I mean, if you want to do the Calgary game back in March, if you want to do the New Jersey game, then maybe I give you credit there. But when it comes to Logan Thompson, really over the last 5 matchups that he has been in net, he has been your team MVP. I've even made a video on Vegas Hockey Hub giving you my explanation why LT36 should be the MVP in terms of what he has done. And the starting lineup for the Vegas Golden Knights, as we are doing the recap here, Vegas Golden Knights, Arizona Coyotes. On line 1, you have the very consistent and durable Ivan Barbashev, your star and all-star from earlier this year, Jack Eichel, and then the guy at 41 goals on the season and arguably the face of the franchise, Jonathan Marchessault. Line 2, you actually have a swap here as Michael Amadio and Chandler Stevenson will stay on line 2, but Paul Cotter will be promoted from line 3 to line 2. So Paul Cotter teaming up with Stevenson and Amadio. And then line 3, Pavel Dorofeyev will be sent down one line, and he'll team up with 2 guys who've had amazing chemistry since the last month, as William Carlson, who has gotten past 25 goals on the year, and Anthony Mantha, who just got past 20 goals. And then line 4, and I mentioned this at the beginning of the show, Keegan Kolazar, Brett Howden will be teaming up with a former first-round pick from the Golden Knights in Brennan Brisson, who is in the lineup because of Nick Watt being injured in the most recent game against Vancouver. So once again, your forward lines for Vegas against Arizona is Barbashev, Eichel, Marchessault, Cotter, Stevenson, Amadio, Dorotheev, Carlson, Mantha, Brisson, Howden, Kolazar. Now your defensive pairings, this is where it does get interesting as Nick Hague and Noah Hanifin are teaming up once again. So ever since Pietrangelo has been out and Alec Martinez has been taken away from the first defensive pairing, Noah Hanifin and Nick Hague, they have displayed a really good back and forth chemistry. I think in terms of line and defensive pairings, Hanifin and Hague have been arguably one of the best combinations your Vegas Golden Knights can have. Defensive pairing 2, Shea Theodore and Braden McNabb, 2 guys who have been together for years now. And then because of Pietrangelo being out of the lineup, you will have Alec Martinez and Zach Whitecloud as your third and final defensive pairing. So defensive pairings, once again, Hague and Hanifin, McNabb and Theodore, Whitecloud, and Martinez. So that will be your starting lineup for the Arizona Coyotes and Vegas Golden Knights game. And being at Mullet Arena out there in Tempe in Arizona, and really interesting arena from an outsider's perspective. College hockey arena for the NHL, interesting. Now, to start this game off for the Vegas Golden Knights and Arizona Coyotes, it started out with a bang as not even 45 seconds into this matchup, Arizona Coyotes defenseman Sean Durzi would get a tripping penalty against Ivan Barbashev. He would be sent to the penalty box, and your Vegas Golden Knights would be on the power play not even 45 seconds into it. And even though your Vegas Golden Knights did not get a lead, in fact, they did not score a goal off of this power play, there actually was an opportunity as your Vegas Golden Knights, there was a shot from Jack Eichel that did not connect. It just went wide, but there was an opportunity on the power play. And then the rest of the first period, there was some physicality. There was some good back and forth situations between Arizona and Vegas. But the only action left to happen in the first period, with about 2 minutes left, your Vegas Golden Knights would have to be on the penalty kill as Jonathan Marchessault would get an interference penalty. Now, there's going to be some people who are going to agree with it. There's some people who are going to disagree with it. But Jonathan Marchessault gets called for interference against Logan Cooley. So Jonathan Marchessault goes to the penalty box, which is not as common anymore. I know when he first really started getting to Vegas, he would get into some fights. He would have some occasional penalty minutes. But for a guy like Jonathan Marchessault, over the last 2 years, you don't see him in the penalty box that often. And the Vegas Golden Knights would be on the penalty kill, and they would kill off this penalty. So they went 0 for 1 on the power play in the first period, but managed to go 1 for 1 in the penalty kill department at the end of the first period. Now, your Vegas Golden Knights being tied at 0-0 after the first period, that is what you would like to see from the Vegas Golden Knights organization. And, this game really kind of back and forth mentality. There's a lot of stuff that we can go over in this matchup. And, really interesting to talk about when it comes to Arizona Coyotes and Vegas Golden Knights. I mean, the regular season series, let's just remember, the Arizona Coyotes shut out Vegas on Thanksgiving earlier this year. And then back in February, the Golden Knights beat Arizona 3-2 back in February. So this is kind of the rubber match between these two teams. So after the end of the first period being 0-0 between Vegas and Arizona, and in the second period, Similar to the first period, Arizona would get a penalty almost right away. Like not even 1 minute into the second period, Josh Brown from the Arizona Coyotes would slash Pavel Dorofeyev. And just like that, your Vegas Golden Knights would be on the power play for the second time in this game. And for the second time in this game, unfortunately, the power play did not execute despite an opportunity from Jonathan Marchessault that just went right over the goalie. And just like that, your Vegas Golden Knights 0 for 2 on the power play to begin this game. And unfortunate news for the Vegas Golden Knights is that they would not score the first goal in this game, as Arizona Coyotes forward Alexander Kerfoot would have his 12th goal of the season, and Arizona would be up 1-0 over the Vegas Golden Knights, entertaining the hometown crowd of 5,000 people at Mullet Arena. Once again, college hockey arena, there's not much you can do there. And Alexander Kerfoot was with Colorado, was with Toronto. I mean, this guy really trying to pan himself out in the NHL, kind of found his footing somewhat in Arizona as a middle six forward. But yeah, Alexander Kerfoot 1-0, and he would have Arizona take the lead with about 6 minutes into the second period. Now, 1 minute later, your Vegas Golden Knights would get on the board as Jack Eichel, 27th goal of the season, assisted by Braden McNabb and Shea Theodore. And just like that, Jack Eichel on the board and gets Vegas to tie this game up. And got to give a lot of credit to Jack Eichel. Scored a goal in the most recent game, scores a goal in this game. It's just what he does. He's a prolific goal scorer. He's one of the best. And about a minute later, the Vegas Golden Knights would get their third power play opportunity as Alexander Kerfoot would get a hooking call and go to the penalty box. And unfortunately for Vegas, this was a reoccurring theme in this game. They would not execute on the power play and would go 0-3 to begin the game on the power play. Very unfortunate for the Vegas Golden Knights. And when it comes to Arizona and Vegas, it's just a situation where they just could not execute when it mattered. And very unfortunate to see. It sucks. It really does. It sucks to see Vegas struggle the way they did in this game. Now, about halfway into the second period, William Karlsson getting his 27th goal of the season. Shea Theodore, his second assist of the game, and Brendan Bryson, who was put into the lineup earlier this afternoon. He would get his sixth assist of the season and would get his first point of the game. So William Karlsson makes it a 2-1 game, and just like that, 11 minutes in, the Vegas Golden Knights, they take the lead, and they are ready to win this game, right? Well, let's fast forward 2 more minutes. As 2 minutes more goes down, Anthony Mantha, Ant-Man, 23rd goal of the season. William Karlsson with the assist, second point of the game. And then Pavel Dorofeyev. So both his line mates and the entire line would contribute with this goal. So Mantha with the assist from Karlsson and Dorofeyev would make it a 3-1 game for the Vegas Golden Knights. And really good matchup there. I really like what we saw from them in the second period. And it would not be done for Vegas as Chandler Stevenson, 16th goal of the season with 2 minutes left in the second period. He'd be assisted by his new line mate in Paul Cotter, who would be, about 15 assists on the year. And then Zach Whitecloud, who would get his 10th assist of the season. So Stevenson, 16th goal of the season, assisted by Cotter and Whitecloud. And, you look at the Vegas Golden Knights, they don't capitalize on the power play. The penalty kill, that worked out for the Golden Knights. So overall, 4-1 lead after the second period. And if you're Vegas, you're pretty confident, right? If you're the Vegas Golden Knights being up by 3 goals, you would be very cocky, you'd be very arrogant, and you would be so wrong in that mentality. if you are the Golden Knights. As the third period would start, and you would have a generational player get on the board for Arizona, as Josh Doan, the son of Shane Doan, would score for Arizona, assisted by Jack McBain. And just like that, Arizona would get back into the game. It would have a 4-2 deficit. So Vegas Golden Knights still in the lead, still trying to maintain control, but it would be slipping just a little bit. And it would be slipping so much that 1 minute after the Josh Doan goal, Nick Bjugstad, 22nd goal of the season, assisted by Clayton Keller and Nick Schmaltz. And just like that, Vegas would now only have a 1-goal lead against the Arizona Coyotes. So you go from having a 4-1 lead at the beginning of the third period to not even half a minute later being up by 1. And it would get worse for your Vegas Golden Knights, as 15 seconds after the Nick Bjugstad goal, Michael Carcone, with his 20th goal of the season, assisted by Liam O'Brien, and the Vegas Golden Knights would be tied up halfway into the third period. So you go from a 4-1 lead to start out the third period to now being tied at the 10-minute mark. And even though Arizona would suffer a penalty during this time, as you know, they would get a slashing penalty and they would have to go to the box, Vegas unfortunately did not capitalize, did not take advantage, and they went 0 for 4 on the power play in this game. That is awful. That is terrible. I think the power play needs a lot of work, but still, 0 for 4, that is an embarrassing number if you're the Vegas Golden Knights. And the dagger, the nail in the coffin, is about 5 minutes left in the third period. Michael Carcone with his 21st goal of the season, second goal of the game, and it would be an Alexander Kerfoot assist and a Travis Dermott assist, and the Arizona Coyotes would be up by 1 against your Vegas Golden Knights. And to add more insult to injury and put more salt in the wound, Josh Brown, who had a penalty earlier in the game, scored his second goal of the season. Clayton Keller and Nick Schmaltz with the assist here. So second goal in the third period where Clayton Keller and Nick Schmaltz were both a part of it. And just like that, Vegas Golden Knights go from a 4-1 lead to being down 6-4. And with about a few minutes left in the third period, the Vegas Golden Knights would pull Logan Thompson, make it an empty net situation, and the young star in Arizona, Logan Cooley, 18th goal on an empty net, and that would make it a 7-4 win for Arizona. And I have to mention this, the Vegas Golden Knights blowing a 4-1 lead, absolutely tragic. It did not need to happen. And I really look at what the Vegas Golden Knights did here, and I'm disappointed. I truly am. This is a Vegas Golden Knights team that needed to do better. They know they had to do better, and they just simply didn't. So if you're the Vegas Golden Knights blowing a 4-1 lead, it sucks, but it's all on you. So for the Vegas Golden Knights, blowing a 4-1 lead, it's out of character for them, but this is not the first time they've done it. It will not be the last time they've done it. And before we sign off here, before we get towards the end, I do want to mention something real quick. With the rumor and speculation about the Arizona Coyotes moving to Salt Lake City, this is the potential final game between the Vegas Golden Knights and the Arizona Coyotes. Now, obviously, next year could ruin this entire slide, but just in case it doesn't, just in case this is indeed the last matchup and the final game the Arizona Coyotes will face against the Vegas Golden Knights, I will say for the Arizona Coyotes fans, thank you for all you've done for the NHL. If the Arizona Coyotes did not show up, I don't think Austin Matthews would be where he was. If the Arizona Coyotes didn't show up, I highly doubt that hockey in the desert would be such a main appeal to guys like Gary Bettman in the NHL. And when it comes to Arizona, I sit here and look at you guys. And I still sit here and think that you have arguably a top 2 uniform of all time. The Kachina is arguably one of the best looking uniforms in all of sports, let alone hockey. And we have to thank you for that. So if this is the final game between Vegas and Arizona, I just want to take a second and acknowledge that Arizona, thank you for what you have done. We appreciate what you have done for the NHL off the ice and on the ice. And if this is the last time, we bid you farewell. And hopefully Arizona can come back in some form of capacity. Minor leagues, let's do it. If it ends up being something else but still uses the Arizona name, that'd be fine by us. Now, here's the win-loss record for the Vegas Golden Knights. 42 wins, 26 regulation losses, and 8 overtime losses. Vegas still in the hunt for the third and final spot in the Pacific Division, battling with LA. They're trying to compete for them, not to fall to the second wildcard spot. Nashville has the first spot pretty much locked up by now. So 42, 26, and 8. I wanted to let everybody I want everyone to be reminded of this. The Vancouver Canucks and Edmonton Oilers are your next 2 matchups this upcoming week, and those will be the 2 final road games the Vegas Golden Knights are going to have this season. So Edmonton and Vancouver will be your final 2 games on the road for the Vegas Golden Knights. And lastly, player of the game, I have to give it to Shea Theodore. I like what I saw from him today. Now, this is Vegas Hockey Hub. I'm your host, Ian Rachiele. And until next time, continue watching hockey. Go support junior hockey. And go, Knights, go.